Your Grace? I can tell you're awake, you know. You can fool Anthony, but you can't fool me. There you are. And no, don't worry, it's okay. You don't have to get up. I just came in to check on you. Well, I heard that you weren't exactly sleeping. You know, we'll be back on your home territory soon, so I just wanted to make sure that you're okay. That you weren't thinking of making a break for it or anything. So, are you alright? You don't have to lie, Minnow. It's early days yet, and I know you're still adjusting. I know you don't fully trust me, that I haven't exactly had all the opportunities to prove myself, and that's fine. That's something that I understand. Is basically what I'm trying to say. I know that I'm a schemer at heart, so I imagine you think that my concern isn't genuine, or that it's only because you're simply an investment in me. A means to an end. Maybe you are. Maybe I... Christ. Little Minnow. I don't know what you've done to me. I had convinced myself that you were going to hate me. That all of this would be just a pain in the ass that would be worth it in the future. That I'd get what I want and then I'd never have to see you again. I didn't anticipate to actually starting to care about you. Much less the crew starting to like you either. Well, I see you laughing and playing cards with the others, you know. I see you helping out around the ship, trying to learn, even if you haven't done a day of physical labor in your life. Climbing up into the crow's nest with our lookouts, sneaking into the pantry with, well... Heck, I catch glimpses of you when you're alone too. Fleeting moments here and there where you aren't so sure yourself. When the mask slips a little bit, you're brave, Minnow. You know that, right? I know you think that I'll find that I don't actually have any use for you. But, Minnow, I need you to trust me. Even if that were true, if I did find that I had no use for you, I still made you a deal in the end. I promised that if you married me, then I would protect you. And I have every single intention of keeping that promise. Deals made on land mean nothing to me, you know. But a deal made in the open ocean, I'd be a fool to break it. And I suppose I found that I like having you around. I know that the crew definitely does. You brought us some light, Minnow. You've already done more for me than I could have ever asked for. I'd be a fool to let you go. I don't want you to worry. I want you to know that there's a place for you here. And I know that you're still getting to know us, but honestly, I could say that we're more of your family than your blood ever was. We want you here, and we aren't exactly keen to let you go. You don't have to say anything. And don't you dare try to thank me for anything. Because everything I've done is really just for selfish reasons. I know that. And now I'm about to ask you a question. One that is also selfish in nature, but I'm gonna pretend that I'm doing it for your sake. Um, do you want to sleep in my bed tonight? I mean, it's far more comfortable than these cots here in the infirmary, and you wouldn't have to listen to Will's snoring. Hey, if I minded, I wouldn't have asked me now. I know that I said in the past that I prefer being alone, but that was... that was before. Just come to my room whenever you feel like. You can leave whenever you like too. Um, can I help you to my room now? Well, come on. I'll help you up. You know, I was thinking we should send a letter to your parents. I haven't written it yet. I was gonna have the first mate help me write it, but he's not the most diplomatic. And Anthony is too angry to help. He thinks that I forced your hand. And I suppose I did. And if anyone holds a grudge, it's probably him. Maybe you can put in a good word for me before he tries to poison my whiskey. Will? He couldn't even sing you the alphabet if you asked him to. I think it's best if you help me anyways. If they see your handwriting, and if it sounds like you wrote it, it'll be more convincing. We can get it over and done with, you know. If you like, we just do it now. Alright, here's the parchment. Some pen and ink. Here, you can sit on my desk. So, for the letter, address it to your parents and your fiancé. I guess you should start by telling them that you're safe, and the fact that you're under the protection of Captain David Harsel, and that you're aboard the Albatross. That way they'll know who I am and what it means if they send anyone after us. Next, tell them that you have called off the engagement and now you're actually married to the captain. Make sure to state that the first mate married us, and that the crew witnessed it. No doubt they'll question the legitimacy of our union. I'll have the first mate sign the letter, confirming that you have written it, and I will sign it too, of course. Your parents' anniversary is in a month or so, correct? I hear it's quite the party. Tell them that you will be in attendance with me as your guest. I think that's all that they need to know for now. Ah, and add that they need to call off the reward, or you will be not returning home. That should do, don't you think? No, I don't need to read it. I trust that it'll do the job and that you've written everything that needs to be written. Just go ahead and sign, and I'll do the same. I said I don't need to. I'm sure it's fine. It's not as if I think you're incriminating me or anything like that. I I don't need to read it. I just told you what to write. So, I know what's in the letter. Just sign it and give it to me. Oh, Minnow, why are you so adamant about this? Look, I can't read, alright? It's not as if I ever needed to. Those books? Look, the crew doesn't know, aside from the first mate. And now you know. Most of them can't read, but I fear that it would undermine my authority if they thought that I couldn't. If I had no books, they'd catch on. I I never learned, and when I became captain, I had my second to keep a log and write everything that needed to be written. Oh well, if anything happens to him, then at least I have you. No, nothing's gonna happen to you. Not on my watch. Your parents will be upset that you married a privateer who's gonna extort them, not because you married a man who can't read. Anyways, they won't find out, because you aren't gonna breathe a word of this to anyone. Now, give me that letter so I can sign it. I'm tired and I kinda wanna call it a night. There. Well, that's all done. Do you still want to stay? Alright, go ahead and get in. I still need to change. You don't need to be so shy, Your Grace. I wouldn't have brought you here if I had any qualms about changing in front of you. You know, for once, I'm actually excited to get off the ship. Find a bed that's actually big enough for 2 people. I bet your bed back home is massive, isn't it? Scoot over. No, not too far. Come back. You'll just have to get comfortable with me. Or you can go back to the infirmary if you want, Minnow. Exactly. So, you better get comfortable with me, and we'll just stick close. I don't want your parents thinking that you're being held hostage when they see us together. Well, you aren't a hostage, Minnow. We can call it off right here, right now, if you want to. We can burn the marriage certificate and dump you at the next port, and your parents will be none the wiser. Is that what you want? Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. Look, we don't have to convince them that we're in love, just that we're serious. If they sense any hesitation in you, it'll give them the push to try and tear us apart. And we can't have that. You're still tense, Minnow. I know it might be hard, but try to relax. I know you're exhausted. You've barely slept since we found you. Settle in and stop worrying. Everything will be alright. I'm here and I'm here to keep you safe. Just like I promised. And just like I've done before when those guards grabbed you. And don't you dare read into this. I just need you well rested and ready to face your parents. Okay? What is it? I can tell you have something that you want to ask me. How does anyone get to this line of work? Well, all you need is a problem with authority and a penchant for skirting maritime law. And a bit of ambition, I suppose. There are plenty of rumors about how I got here. That I'm a banished prince. A kraken parading around as a man. The true story isn't nearly as entertaining as all of that, though. Well, I suppose I could tell you. You see, my father was in the Royal Navy when I was a boy. He used to tell me about his adventures on the high seas, and I found out too late that they were greatly romanticized. He went missing when I was 9. They don't declare those lost at sea as dead, you know? Not ever. He's just one of the thousands of lost souls. My mother and I held a funeral for him after 2 years. She was arrested for theft shortly after, and I was sent off as a ward of the state. I wanted to be like him, like my father. So, I left the orphanage to join the Navy when I was 15. Actually, I lied and said that I was 17, and they let me in. That's where I met that friend I told you about. Lawrence. It's his ring that you wear around your neck. We were assigned to the ship under the same captain. Lawrence saved my life more times than I can count, and I his. Looking back on it now, we saw all of the things that my father had left out of his tales. Things not suitable for a child's ears. Things that I dare not tell you. We began to doubt that we were on the right side of things. Lawrence and I. Our captain was particularly malicious, sacrificing many young men in the name of national security or whatever it was. It went on for years, and our hatred compounded. And the other crew members that had served for as long as we had, they were angry too. When we started, we were promised glory. But really, we were only ashamed of what we had done. Mutiny, they called it. But what we did was justice. Lawrence and I killed the captain. He held him down, while I slit his throat. I told Lawrence he should be captain, that he was more level-headed than I. Smarter, too. But he said since I had been the one to draw blood, that it should be me. Something about it being my right. Those that didn't want to be part of the crew, we dropped at the nearest port. Then we just took the ship and we left. This cabin. It was his cabin, you know? The old captain's. That's where all the books came from. Afterwards, I was branded a traitor. I'm still wanted for high treason back home, but they can't get me as long as I don't set foot in the country. They say that I murdered the men that are in my crew now. But the truth is, the only man I've ever murdered in cold blood was the captain. And that was because he deserved it. Minnow, I'm sorry. This probably isn't making it any easier for you to relax, but thank you for listening. I wouldn't blame you if you were scared of me. What? No. I won't ever do anything to hurt you. Not ever. But I feel like you should know that I'm not a good man, Minnow. I pretend the sea has washed away my sins, but I'm afraid my soul is stained. I fully expected you to hate me, to fight me every step of the way, because I knew you could see that I am no saint. But God, every time I look at you, I feel forgiven. That maybe the sea gifted you to me because it decided that I had suffered enough. I know that I said I had no love to give, but then I look at you and now I'm starting to think that maybe, just maybe I do. Not a lot, not enough, but some. I think that I could love you. I mean, I love the sea, don't I? And that's where you came from. So, couldn't I learn to love you as well? Is it something worth trying? Yes, Minnow. Really. This is how I feel. And honestly, I might as well try. I want to try, if you will too. But only if you promise to stay with me. I I know that wasn't part of the deal, but I can't risk falling in love with you if you mean to leave me. So, can you promise me that you'll stay? You do that and I'll promise to find a way to love you. To finally be honest with these feelings of mine. You don't have to love me back. But can you please just stay? I can't wait to see the look on your parents' face when they see us. And your fiance, of course, too. With this, they won't be able to touch us. You know, I bet we'll be at the center of the attention at their own party. You, returning home safe and sound after supposedly being kidnapped. Which, I suppose, in a sense, it makes me look like your knight in shining armor. Everyone will want to know our story. Perhaps we tell a different one each time to keep them on their toes. Keep people talking about us. If I know anything about you, you'll want to stay out of the limelight, but I can't deny that I'll like the attention, and I'll be enjoying showing you off too. We should make a big show of it, just to piss off your parents too. There's the matter of business as well. I do need the notoriety. You know, I was thinking you should keep your own surname. In fact, I know it's not the usual that happens. I was thinking I should take your surname instead, to distance myself from my old reputation. I can't have people being so scared that they refuse to even say my name. Yes, Captain David Harcel may be a powerful man, but your David is gonna be quite the gentleman instead. Can I see your hand? I want to see the ring again. Look at that, Minnow. A couple weeks ago, and you never would have been able to picture this. Cuddled right up to a bloodthirsty pirate captain. I'm sure you imagined the wedding ring, with a very different partner. You don't understand how happy it makes me that you want to be here. With me. That you trust me. I know it's early days yet, but I have hope for us. I never really liked the idea of this much hope, because hope is a dangerous thing. But what is a pirate's life if not one of danger? Yeah, try and sleep. You'll need as much energy as possible in order to deal with your parents later. At least you won't have to deal with them alone, That's alright. You can go to sleep. You should sleep. I'll be right here when you wake up. Good night, little minnow. Sleep well.